OK, we can get more reaction with Paul Merson, who joins us now. Hi there. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, Hayley.
Oh, crikey. We thought City might have just come out of their blip. And then, of course, last night happened. How big a setback is that? And I guess the manner of the defeat as well, being 2-0 up.
Yeah, I wasn't buying into this Man United, Man City back one. I wasn't. You know, Brentford should have beaten me the other week, I thought. You know, they'd beaten Ipswich 6 and then they beat Salford 8. I thought Leicester missed good chances against them. I don't think they've been great. So this doesn't shock me at all, this result. It doesn't. I think, you know, the legs in the team, you know, and when they showed high energy, this Paris Saint-Germain team, like Brentford did, they went through them like a knife through butter. And I think this is the problem they have at the moment. You know, this team is changing and they need certain players in. And it's hard because we're talking about world-class players, but some of them are coming towards the end.
I mean, the defeat, they risk being knocked out, don't they? They've got to win their final game at home to Club Brugge. That's next Wednesday. Is it unthinkable for them not to qualify?
It'd be a miracle. Be a miracle. Yeah, absolute miracle. To play, you know, this setup is made for all the top teams to get through. Or even if they have a bad day at the office, they're still going to get in the knockout stages. I mean, if you'd have said at the start of the tournament, you're going to play Club Brugge on the last game, and you've got to beat them, that'll be enough. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I think they go through. I think if you'd have asked Celtic, no disrespect, if you'd have asked Celtic at the start of this tournament, you played Club Brugge last game of the tournament to go through, you take that every day of the week. But fair play to Celtic, they're straight through. Well done.
Yeah, we'll get on to that. But just with City and looking at, I guess, the manner of the defeat, and they were outclassed, outdone by a side last night that could have been Manchester City. That's how they used to play, wasn't it? That's what City used to do to other teams. But with Pep Guardiola potentially not going through, how alarming is that?
Yeah, very, very. I mean, but if you look, you know, you've got Silva, Kovacic and Kevin De Bruyne on that triangle with Silvinho and Foden. Who's getting the ball back? Who's winning the ball back? Who's closing down? Who's going to get around the teams? And this is the problem. I watched them at West Ham the other week. You know, you watch them tracking back. They're not the Man City of old. You know, they're not that Man City that used to suffocate you. They go after you. They go in groups and they get the ball back. They haven't got that energy anymore. They haven't got it. And it's teams like now with high energy and some legs in the team are leaving them away. And people don't see it on the telly because you're only watching a certain part. But when you watch some of these players tracking back, they're not getting back. They're not getting back anymore. And this is the problem Man City have. And, you know, there's a lot to be done at Man City. I think they're in a right fight to get in the top 4. I do expect them to get through in the Champions League. If they can't beat Club Brugge, you know, they shouldn't even be in the tournament. So, and that's no disrespect to Club Brugge, but I see Lille go to, you know, which is a better league, the French league, and a team of 23 games undefeated, and Liverpool beat them in second gear. So I expect that, but there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of work.
They're doing a lot of work to try and bolster the squad, I guess, or replace those that have left. Finally, a replacement for Julian Alvarez. They've certainly spent this money with those 2 new defensive additions. And confirmation of Omar Marmoush as well this morning. Obviously made headlines for his goal scoring in the Bundesliga this season. Are there a few concerns these signings may be untried and tested at the very highest level?
I like the lad at Frankfurt. He's a good player. He's a good goal scorer. I don't know where he gets in the team. I don't know where he plays. He's a very good goal scorer. He's a good striker. But, you know, if he's going to be asked to play on the left or the right and cut inside and join in, I don't see how that works because you can't join in with Haaland. Haaland's an unbelievable goal scorer, but he's not one of them that if you're an intelligent winger or something and you're slash centre forward and you want to play the ball inside, come again, play a 1-2, Haaland's not going to, he's not interested in that. He's not interested in that. So I like the lad and I think he's a good player, really good, but I don't see where he fits in. You know, Haaland's just signed a 9-year contract, so I don't see where Haaland doesn't play. And then he's got Silvinho, he's got Doku, he's got Foden, he's got Grealish. You know, it's not like they haven't got any wingers as well. So it'd be interesting to see where this lad plays. And you can't say he bought him for the future because they just signed Haaland on a 9-year contract. So it's not like we had a whisper and we're like, well, Haaland might be going Real Madrid next season, so they're just getting this lad in now for next season. No, that's not the case. So I don't get this one. Even though I like the lad, I think he's a good player. I don't see where he plays.
What about defensively then? Obviously, City, they've accepted AC Milan's formal loan offer for Kyle Walker this morning. Do you think they can afford to let him go? I mean, after seeing how much Matheus Nunes struggled at right-back, particularly last night.
Well, Nunes has struggled wherever he's played for Man City. You know, he's not done anything since he's been there. And that's been in his positions he usually plays in. Sorry. So for him to go and play at right back, and the way that Man City are, how open Man City are, and as I say, with the legs in midfield, you're going to be up against it every week. So sorry, I just fell off a cliff. Sorry.
Okay.
Bit like Man City. So I find it hard. I feel sorry for the lad in that way. But, I mean, Kyle Walker, £4 million. I mean, I just don't get it, £4 million. I mean, that's nothing. It's a cup of tea in football. So I just don't get that one. I'm still a big fan of Kyle Walker because I know he's lost a bit of his pace, but he still gets in my team.
What about the title race? Come on, I mean, just looking at it overall, looking at what's coming up as well, can they get back into a title race?
No, I don't see them back in the title race. I think they're fighting for top four, massive top four. I think that's it now. You know, they've got Chelsea and Arsenal coming up with Club Brugge in between. I just don't see how they're up at a fight. I think Chelsea beat them this weekend. I really do. I think Chelsea's energy and Cole Palmer getting them in the little pockets. I think they'll cause massive problems for me.
Yeah, do you think last night would have helped Chelsea's thoughts about heading into the game at the weekend? Fancy their chances that little bit more?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I mean, if you've watched the videos, I'll go back to it, but if you've watched the videos on Man City, this is not Man City of old. You know, they don't go and get the ball back. And if they do, they'll do it for 5 or 10 minutes. They can't do it for long periods of time anymore. And Cole Palmer will get into pockets. And I just don't know how Silva and Kovacic can live with Cole Palmer. You know, you might say at the other end, the other way round, but, you know, Caicedo can do a job with Kevin De Bruyne, 100%. You know, they haven't got Rodri. I see Chelsea causing them massive problems. With Neto playing against Nunes as well, down that Chelsea's left and Man City's right, I see him running him absolutely ragged. I mean, yeah, I'd be shocked if Chelsea lost this game. I really would be shocked if Chelsea lost this game.
Yeah, very different Manchester City from the game when they, of course, played earlier in the season with Chelsea losing. Slightly different Erling Haaland as well, but you mentioned that bumper long-term deal. We've got to talk about it in a bit more depth. He'll stay at City until 2034. He'll be one of the highest paid sportsmen, in fact, in the world. But as a player, any concern it actually could impact your motivation?
Sorry. No, I don't. Not with Haaland. I think Haaland's is a prime example of a young kid, mentally strong, you know, very strong-minded, wants to be the best. I don't think he's one of them lads who's that worried about the money. I think you take it because it's there. Of course you do. But I think he'd rather score goals. I think if he finished his career in 9 years' time at Man City and he hadn't beaten Alan Shearer's record, I think he'd be more disappointed than going away with enough money to buy another country, if I'm being honest. So for me, yeah, I don't see a worry with that. I think this lad is very strong-minded, wants to play football, wants to score goals.
Right, let's talk Arsenal. 3-0 win over Dinamo Zagreb. That does put them on the verge of qualification for the last 16. How big a boost would that be to finish inside the top 8? And actually, how far can Arsenal go in this competition?
Well, I mean, it's brilliant what they've done. They're third in the league. You know, they've had a really, really good Champions League so far. Great performance last night, comfortable. They could go a long way. They're a dangerous team. The problem is we're going to see, when it gets to the last 16, we're going to see the road all the way to the final, who they got to play. And I think I don't really like that situation where we're going to know that it's a bit like It's like Wimbledon. It's like Wimbledon, at tennis. You get the draw and you see who you've got to play. I don't like that. I like the buzz of you win your two-legged game and then you never know. You might get through again and you might get a better draw, or the two big boys might meet each other in the quarterfinals. So, yeah, I think Arsenal are big players. It all depends about the league, because at the moment they're 6 behind Liverpool. Liverpool got a game in hand and they got a better goal difference. So, really, in hindsight, it could be 10 points. People say, oh, there's 16 games to go. There isn't 16 games to go. They've probably got about 7, 8, probably 9 games Liverpool got. And the others, they've got to play Southampton, they've got to play Leicester, they've got to play Wolves. They've got these teams that are really, if they turn up with the right attitude, they win them games. So if it gets to a stage where Liverpool are uncatchable, then I think Arsenal are massive players in the Championship. But if they're trying to juggle both at the same time and trying to chase Liverpool down because it might only be 6 points, then I think it's going to be hard for them to win the Champions League.
One thing that, it looked like to have addressed last night, they scored the goals. You saw Rice getting one after just 2 minutes, 3 different scorers as well. Now, a number of chances, or missed chances, had actually been the theme for Arsenal in recent weeks. Yes, they got the 3 goals, but they didn't create as many as the scoreline would actually suggest. Do you think they need to strengthen the forward line, because they're going to need consistency in this area, aren't they?
Sorry. Yeah, I think the thing is that they won 3-0. I think that's the thing you look at. Buying in January as centre forward, you're buying someone here for the next 5 years. You're not buying someone for the next 6 months. It's going to be for the next 4 or 5 years. I don't think that fits. I go and buy Cunha. I go and get Cunha because I see that as an all-round package, where he can play there for the next 5 years. I think they got to wait for the centre forward. Don't rush into that. Again, if Liverpool's game in hand was now and they won it, they'd be near on 10 points behind. Do you panic attack? Do you have a panic up? Buy a centre forward for 70, 80 million pounds, give them massive wages, and you're not going to win the league this year. You might as well, keep your powder dry, hold back and go and get the right person in the summer. But they will need a centre forward in the summer. But I would go and get Cunha. I think Cunha suits Arsenal. I think he has that guile about him. He's good in tight spaces. He can beat players. And when you're at Arsenal, most of the time you're playing against 10 at the back. At Wolves, teams have a go at you. But, I do like Cunha.
Okay, welcome back. Paul Merson still with us. We're going to take a look to a huge game in the Europa League tonight. It's Manchester United hosting Rangers. The build-up's certainly been dominated, hasn't it, Paul, by Ruben Amorim's comments. The team might just be the worst in the club's history. What did you make of the comments? It was sort of a bit more of a question, wasn't it? Does he have a point, or is it a high-risk strategy?
Well, it's not a good thing to say as a manager. It was honest. In my time, and I saw when he said it, I looked back and I was thinking when I played recently, before when I was growing up as a kid, and I would say it is the worst Man United team. Yeah, I would say it's the worst Man United team, or worst, in league position-wise. Yeah, 100%. Teams like Bournemouth and Brighton are going there, and you're half expecting them two teams to win. It's not like we're going there and it's a shock when they win. And I think he was right what he said. I think he was right. I'm not saying that these players can't play, because we've got some very, very talented footballers. But as a team and as a unit, in my time, they won't be far off. 100% won't be far off.
He did clarify the comments, didn't he, slightly yesterday, and said he meant it was more about himself. But from a player's perspective, what would you be thinking if you heard your manager say something like that? And what about a response tonight? Or is there a danger? It could go the other way. Who knows?
I think someone's had a word with him. I think, he said he's very honest, which he is, and that's what we want. He's very honest, but he's very young. He's 38 years of age. He wouldn't have, in his wildest dreams, he wouldn't have seen it panning out like this so far when he first come in. And I think he was honest, and I think someone's gone to him and said, you need to little track on that, little backtrack on that. and he's turned it around to sort of having a little dig at himself. But yeah, he'd have meant what he said. You know, he wouldn't believe what's going on at the moment. They're a million miles off. I mean, you look at this at the moment and you're like, I don't see how it changes. You know, the other games look after themselves, but you look at all right, they went and beat Man City. They were 1-0 down with 10 minutes ago. If Nunes don't pass the ball back to the goalie, they lose that football match. If Odegaard scores the penalty, they lose that football match. You know, it's not like they were unlucky at Liverpool, don't get me wrong. Liverpool couldn't have played any worse. Man United couldn't have played any better, and it was a draw. You know, it's not like they've gone to these places like Man City and Arsenal and destroyed them. It's like they got them lucky results. But yeah, at the moment, I agree with him. You know, I look back and I was trying to think, and they won't be far off. But, you know, he's honest and I like him, but he's very inexperienced at the moment.
One thing that's changed, it's no longer really a fortress. Old Trafford, that's how we describe it every home game. And he said they're nervous playing at Old Trafford. I mean, given their dominance at home in years gone by, how damning is it to hear something like that? Nervous.
It's very, very, and you will. I mean, any footballer will tell you, if you could bottle one thing up, it'll be confidence. And when that confidence goes, you know, you hear the crowd are edgy. You know, the crowd are still thinking that, you know, they're watching, you know, some of the greats that have played there in their successful football teams. That's not the case anymore. It's not Man United. But the problem is they're a million miles, because the way the fair play is, they're going to have to go out and buy players that, you know, that you get lucky on. Do you know what I mean? Like playing fantasy football, you pick your Haalands and your Salahs, you pick them players, and then you've got to go and get the other players on the cheap that you hope that might perform. And that's where Man United are going to be. You know, they can't go out and buy 70, 80 million pound players anymore. And the players they go and buy for 30 and 20 and 30 million, they haven't played for Man United. They haven't played for teams in front of 70, 80,000 every week. So they're right up against it at the moment, Man United. I don't see too much change.
How do you see tonight going then? Quick one, up against Rangers. They should be beating Rangers at home, shouldn't they?
Oh, I mean, this will be one of the biggest shocks ever. And that's no disrespect to Rangers. I mean, when they get beat by Bournemouth and Brighton, that doesn't shock me one bit. But you'd be shocked if Rangers went and won here tonight. If they won and won here tonight, that would be a major crisis at the highest level, you know, for me. You know, so, yeah, I expect, no disrespect to Rangers, but I do expect Man United to win this football match. And I expect them to win it quite comfortably, if I'm being honest. And that Boydie told me that.
OK. Well, if Boydie told you that then, on record now. What about Tottenham? I mean, they're also in action tonight. They've won just one in 8 games in all competitions. What about Ange Postecoglou? And tactically, he's not going to change anything, is he? How much pressure is it for him to get through in the Europa League?
There's a lot of pressure on him getting through. I mean, changing things, he went and played 3 at the back against Everton. I was flabbergasted. You know, Everton play 1 up front. They're not free-flowing. I think sometimes when you're under pressure as a manager, you make bad decisions. And I think that was a bad decision, what he done last weekend. I do feel sorry for him. I do feel sorry. And I know that's coming from an Arsenal man, but they've had a lot of injuries. I think when Van der Ven gets back and Romero, you know, you need your 2 centre-halves. And for me, when they get back, I think then we start judging Postecoglou. But I do like him. And I feel sorry for him at the moment.
I know this is old news, but it's still Tuesday night's news. Villa defeat to Monaco. We've obviously got to get you on this. Unai Emery questioning his side's mentality, accused some of not following the plan as a player. What would you have made of that?
I thought it was a shocking result. I thought it was a poor performance by Villa. I thought it was important for them not to lose that game. If they'd have won it, great, but make sure they don't lose the game. And yeah, that's damning from what the manager said. You know, not listening to him. I think that was worrying, in my opinion. But it will be a difficult game against Celtic. I really do, because the pressure's on Villa. Celtic are through already, and Villa will have to win, and hopefully the results go the other way and they can get in the top 8.